Then welcome everybody, THS Summer Sponsor Roundtable. Members of THSADA, all 1,200 of them, are encouraged when they view this webinar to share it with their peers. We will also share this link with our three sponsors that are online today. They can share it with their team. It's really been a trying time for us, and I know you all think the same things, but when we go back to early March, we were all rocking and rolling along with everything going as normal, and things changed in a hurry, and we haven't really had a normal day since then. So it's caused us to rethink how we do things. It's caused us to rethink how we do our meetings. I didn't know what Zoom was. I never owned a mask before in my life, and now all I do is wear a mask and do Zoom meetings. So that's kind of where we are all right now. But we really appreciate the work of our state sponsors. They have stayed with us. We are partners with you guys and you with us. The companies that you work for are still engaged 100%, getting the work done, getting ready for school to start, opening schools and taking care of our kids through rank 1 and putting fields in, making safe places for our kids to play. So we're all keeping our fingers crossed that when August 3rd gets here, football and volleyball can start here in August, we can begin to open the doors of our schools. But a lot has to be done between now and then, but we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can make it work. We have three state sponsors here with us today. We have Chuck Bailey and Brian Cox from FieldTurf. We have Tracy Neely from Rank 1 Sports and Health, and Trey Schneider and Juan Lopez from PBK Sports. We want to thank you guys for being here today. Our Director of Marketing and Sponsorship is Dave Stevenson. He will lead today's discussion. So without further ado, Dave, take it over, please.
Thanks, Bob. Boy, when we were starting 2020, it was set to be a really busy year. We had over 40 school districts around the state of Texas getting ready for bond elections in May that represented $4.4 billion. Well, when the pandemic hit in March, we were only able to have 4 of those elections. So we're hopeful, as you said, Bob, for a return in the fall, no matter, whatever that looks like. But in the meantime, we're trying to bring our sponsors to our membership in a safe way in this environment. And to start off, we're going to go to our friends at FieldTurf. Chuck, the environment that we have with COVID-19, it's going to exist in some form or fashion until a vaccine's found. But what are the solutions that you can talk about for FieldTurf that they have to offer school districts to ensure tracks and fields and whatever that playing surface they're on is safe?
Well, Dave, I've mentioned this kind of in the past. It was early on when you guys, I was fortunate enough to be on these calls, and I think this is 6th or 7th one. And as I've told you, it's been not only informative, but it's been somewhat therapy to me and being able to share this with my guys and some of the guys who've been on here. But with that said, Bob mentioned Zoom, and I found it also, Bob, and I use it, and my guys don't like it because it's almost like a toy to me. It's every 15 minutes I'm asking them what they're doing. I get to look and see what they're doing. With that said, I think the FieldTurf team, and I mentioned early on in the thing, we closed one of our lines in our Baltimore plant and started developing hand sanitizer that we were distributing across the country. Unfortunately, I just got mine yesterday, but that was one of the little small things that we did up front. I also mentioned we immediately got into sanitizing the field, and I didn't think anything of it because it was so fresh. And then Don Buck from Texas Tech called me, and then immediately Jeremy King from Texas called me, and then it's kind of spiraled from there. I'm not going to steal Brian's thunder because he's going to kind of get into that. My biggest thing is we just had a big 2-day Zoom thing, which was generally our meeting with the VPs and our committee that we formed. And we do this every year. And so we had to do it with Zoom this year, and it was, 8 hours on the phone. But with it, what I said, there was a lot of new stuff that we've introduced that we're really, excited about sharing to the market. But I've just thought through this process, I would rather tell you guys and show you guys what we're doing to join hands with you guys to try to inform you what we're doing on our side to be helpful. And there's going to be a time when we can introduce these new products and some of the new improvements and stuff. And I just, just kind of told my guys when they get on here, I just think I'd rather share with you guys what we're doing to hold you guys' hands, and Brian will get with that. So our focus has been more to try to bring to you guys little things that might be helpful as we go through this craziness. So with that said, like I said, I appreciate all you guys and being on here. I said on that first meeting when there's about 50 people on it, there were several in there I thought I'd never like to see again, but it was really good seeing them with all this craziness. So Brian, I'll turn it over to you now, and so you can talk a little bit about the sanitation process and some of the things we've done there, and then also with the financing stuff that we're going to make available.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity. The question again was, what are some of the things that FieldTurf, PBK Sports, Bynum, what have we done to kind of help our clients out through these times? First and foremost, the first thing I want to talk about is a program that we've developed called Facility Shield. What FieldTurf has done is we've actually, instead of trying to develop a product ourselves, we've partnered up with a well-known group called SaniSport. SaniSport currently is working with 28 NHL teams, 17 NFL teams, 6 Major League Baseball teams, and several of the armed forces groups out there. Everything that they've done has been tested and retested and backed by Cornell University. So what they're actually providing us to what we can provide to our clients is really good stuff. I will be passing out and sending out the actual brochure that kind of goes through all the details and the increments of how that works. But basically what we have is we have solution that we can come out and we can actually deep clean a field. We can spray a field. We can spray a track. We have machines now that you can actually plug into an outlet and you can actually sanitize an entire locker room. You can sanitize a weight room. You can sanitize even a gym. So it's a really good thing. And it's, not that we can sit there and definitively tell you would COVID be in the field or would COVID be in the track. I don't really want to go there. The bottom line is if it makes the parents, it makes the coaches, and it makes the administrators comfortable knowing that their fields, their tracks, their equipment, anything that they have out there has been sprayed down and sanitized. This is a good group that we've partnered up with. And again, the name is called SaniSport. Also, along with that program, we haven't really talked a ton about it. It's been around now for a few years. It actually got started on natural grass fields. And what it was basically, it's not necessarily a camera system, but it has 2 modules that would connect to your lights, your stadium lights. The cost to start the program is about $20,000, but what it actually does is it shows you where all of the where all the people are on your field. So as we kind of get back into athletics, we get back into sports, but yet we're still supposed to try to keep social distancing and this, that, and the other. Basically, it's something that you guys could install and you can actually track from your computer, your monitor, and it tells you exactly where everybody is on hotspots. Obviously, we can't use actual cameras, so it's done by the heat of the human body. But it tells you where all your activity on your fields are and how close people are. So that's also part of the program that you'll see in the brochures that we pass out. So that's what we have going on as far as partnering up with SaniSport and basically really diving into making sure that all of our clients, all of our customers, all of our school districts, it's also important for me to tell you, this isn't just for FieldTurf and Bynum customers. Anybody out there that has a synthetic turf field, anybody out there that has an all-weather track, anybody out there that has gyms, weight rooms, locker rooms, coaches' offices, those things, anybody and everybody can sign up for these different opportunities and programs. And the costs obviously are different between how much you actually get into it. So that's the sanitizing that I really wanted to get. There's a lot of people that are getting emails and calling me with all these companies out there saying that they have these products that they've developed, this, that, and the other. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that we're fully on board with that. And if they need anything, we're there for them. The second question, or the second part of the question, is there anything that FieldTurf is doing to kind of help districts out? We understand that when it's becoming difficult to pass bonds for the next 6 to 12 months, possibly before things really ramp back up and we're waiting for the economy to turn around, FieldTurf has developed a program for clients that are looking at either they're in their 8th or 9th, 10th year of an existing field and they need to really replace it. They don't know if they're going to have the money and the funding behind them to do it. So FieldTurf has come up with a plan. If you buy a FieldTurf field, whether it be brand new or whether it be replace an existing field, we're offering 3 years of 0% financing. So our financing terms would be you have 3 years to completely pay that field off, and there's no APR involved with that. The next is if you wanted to buy a field and you wanted to finance it for 5 years, it would be at 1.9%. Or if you wanted to finance a field over 7 years, it would be at 2.9%. So that's a program that we feel that needed to be rolled out. That's not only for turf, but it's also for our bind-in tracks. So if you needed to have a field replaced and a track resurfaced, or if you were building one from scratch, that program has been put in place to ease the pain while all these school districts are trying to figure out when their next bond election is going to be, if the funding's still going to be there from a previous bond that they might have had in reserve in order to help with their athletic facilities. So those are the two big things that we feel was important for us to get out to the public and all of our districts, and hope that it helps. And we're here to answer any questions and help everybody through these times.
Boy, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you so much, Chuck. I want to shift now to Tracy Neely with Rank 1 Sport and Health. Tracy, let's talk about data. What information does Rank 1 streamline to sync data with your other partnerships?
So Dave, thanks for having me, and Bob, I really appreciate being a part of your panel today. So the Rank 1 name is pretty synonymous with your athletic trainers and athletic directors. So I think what we want to express today is our survival kit, for COVID. And I can tell you that this API feed is probably some things that athletic trainers may not know about. So we kind of want to get the word out about how we can sync data. And just like Brian mentioned with, the FieldTurf with Chuck, that they've partnered up with some companies that could help schools survive right now. And part of that is syncing data and being able to share information so that the workload, can pay off when an athletic director and athletic trainer is putting something in a digital ecosystem. So to answer your question, we're Rank 1 strong, really. It's Rank 1 Sport plus Health now. We're in 26 states. We have an open API system. So we'll sync data with anybody's school system. Anybody that has school data in their student system, we can sync with them, as well as we can push information out to different partners. The good thing is now that we have created a form for COVID screening. Brian, of course, being our main developer over the years for 12 years with Rank 1, he's created a phase 1 of a COVID screening tool. And really, I kind of went to him as an athletic director in my mind. I was like, okay, Tracy Neely's a cross-country coach. How is she going to safely get back out there? And what tools am I going to give her as an athletic director to say that she can actually have practice? So the COVID screening tool was the first thing we thought of. And I know Brian had been hearing from athletic trainers, what can we do? How can we help? So that's being built in our robust forms platform right now. It's phase 1. It will prompt the student to be able to fill out a screening form, and districts can choose their questions. They could submit a thermometer reading and be able to satisfy a 24-hour period of time that they're safe to actually practice. Now, we're testing that with our summer camps and conditioning piece for $100 a campus. So if anybody wants to try that right off the bat and see if that works with their system and start attaching that to their profiles that are currently in the Rank 1 customer, client database right now, they could adopt that right away. That's a pretty simple thing that we've added. And that is, certainly a big tool to be able to get my cross-country team back out there, because I don't want to be exposed to anything. I think some of the other things that we did, I reached out and found a company that's Reveal Medical. They're able to help with any kind of impact that a product line could have on a coach. For instance, I've heard that the state is going to be distributing masks, but what if I want my McNeil Mavericks to wear a Maverick on their mask while they're training for cross country? So we can actually brand masks, and we can send out gloves and gowns, and we can outfit the entire athletic training staff with anything that they would need, because we know that it's probably going to look different on the sidelines as far as what they have on. They're probably going to be covered in gear, and their shoes are probably going to be covered, and there's going to be a lot of different things that we can roll into that. So that's not necessarily an API feed, Dave. So to kind of dovetail back into that question, we've extended into 2 other partners that everybody's going to recognize that have been in business with the schools for a long, long time. And that's your Mascot Media folks. They now build our higher level websites because, you know, Rank 1 builds a lower level website that can feed all the rosters, the scores, the schedules. And now, since we didn't have time to build a broadcasting platform, let's be quite frank, you know, COVID kind of produced a silver lining with the release of Friday Night Lights and the fact that we were already partners with Mascot Media. So now a Rank 1 customer, or even a new customer, if you come on board, all of that API feed, anything that, you know, Bob, your coaches that used to have to put in all those schedules and put in all their scores, now it goes in one time. It goes into the Rank 1 platform. Now it feeds whatever data you want to. If you want to feed your website, you want to feed up to your broadcasting platform. Now you can feed into your e-ticketing platform as well with Hometown Ticketing for us. So we're sharing that data between all of those platforms in a way that we've removed all the barriers for a school district. We've had all those conversations. We know what APIs are going to feed in and out of those systems and which data is going to be shared. So now there's no hindrance and we can do it quickly and we can start thinking about things that you might need. So if you guys want to go to an event, let's say one of those baseball stadiums is open, Chuck, and we get to go to a baseball game. Let's say that happens. E-ticketing, we've got Hometown Ticketing. There is a chance that Rank 1 could lay a COVID screening tool into that ticketing platform. We've talked about that, and we want to be able to try to develop that technology where that person that's walking in the gate has to fill out a screening tool to be able to get their ticket to validate. So we're working on coordinating a lot of those tools so that, you know, not only can I get out there and coach my cross-country team, but I might be able to go to the football game that Friday night as well.
Well, I can't imagine another sponsor who has as impressive a market share as Rank 1. I think you're probably over 90% in the state of Texas.
Yes, we are, especially 6A, 5As. You know, we do house the UIL concussion protocol data collection. That's been a huge piece for us. We're very proud of that and working with that. You know, we're entertaining a lot of 4A, 3A schools right now. We've onboarded quite a few of those. I will say right now, working with our CEO, we do want to make an open invitation. Our 1A and 2A schools, we're ready to onboard for Rank 1 sport, and we're willing to bear the cost just them to get them on board. We know that a lot of them are still doing pen and paper, and to protect schools, if somebody wants to reach out and contact me, I know some of our membership in the Texas High School ADA is not necessarily geared at the lower end of the spectrum on the classification, but I think it's time for them to come on board into the electronic age and let us help protect schools. And that's what we want to do. We have our health messenger as well as an add-on for our Rank 1 sport that connects that athletic trainer directly to their provider. So now if there's a concussion on the field, health messenger, that athletic trainer can pick up their phone and video conference with a concussion specialist right away. And it can be their team physician if the team physician happens to be over at the girls' soccer field and needs to be in the basketball gym. So we've got a lot of tools in there that are virtual and useful in the digital age.
Yeah. Well, we always, when we think of successful companies, those that are leading innovators in the marketplace, I certainly think of Rank 1. We talked about FieldTurf. You're just having to evolve and change just as dictated. And then I think of PBK Sports. Trey, good to have you on. Good to have Juan on. Let's talk a little bit about how, you know, PBK Sports is changing in this environment.
Very good. Happy to be here. Thanks so much, Dave. So it is interesting. It's interesting to listen to the others on the panel talk about all the changes and what we've gone through. We're open for business, obviously a little differently than we were before. I think everybody's learning how to live in a virtual world, so similar to meeting as well. It's kind of interesting how well everybody's adapted. In some cases, I feel like there's going to be some really good that comes out of it. So it's kind of what Tracy was talking about. You're actually looking at being able to, through technology, touch many more people when it comes to health and safety. So maybe we'll learn how to use that significantly better as we move forward. Our world's been kind of crazy in that we typically are designing and overseeing the construction of facilities Hasn't changed any. Everybody's still not sure how school's going to open, but we still have projects to get completed. We've got a social distance. We do things obviously by virtual, but we still have live meetings. So, and then Brian can attest because he's been in a number of them. We've had bid openings that are both live, and then we've also had them where they're virtual. We've just learned to adapt. There's legal ramifications from our side of things, how we handle it. But the interesting part has been we've been part of interviews as well that are both live but also virtual. And Juan and I were fortunate to sit in on a live meeting with the city of Bryan. It's not a K-12 project, but going to do a large sports and event center there. So it's kind of interesting not having any physical interaction with people. That's the part I think we miss the most, and I think that would be everybody on this panel. So with that being said, there's advantages, disadvantages, but we've learned to cope.
So the design process still moves on. We still do it all virtual. We doodle on the screen. There's a lot of interaction. I think also that actually a lot more people more receptive to give you feedback. I don't know, just maybe the being comfortable in their environment of where they're at, say in their study, for example, Bob, you know, that they're easily can give you comments. We quickly do changes. We do presentations on the screen. So things just been, we've acclimated to the process, to the virtual world, but things have been going along well. We're all our groups, our architectural groups are busy doing projects. Whatever the client is comfortable with as far as having face-to-face meetings or virtual, we always ask them first to make sure that everybody's comfortable, and so we can do that. And so out in the field, the work is still going on as well, and everybody's taking precautions. There's some projects that have been accelerated in the K-12 market. Some schools have been accelerated just to take advantage of some savings for bond sales and things of that nature. So overall costs, I think, depending that construction costs are still running pretty steady. I think there may be some, we'll see how things go along in the fall. So we're keeping an eye on all that as well and seeing what potential changes and how that may impact the overall kind of our world, I guess you can say, as well. So that kind of gives you a quick snapshot of where we at. So
Appreciate that, Juan. Thank you so much, Trey. Bob?
Thank you all for
Hey,
sharing
Bob
today.
and Dave, I want to add a few things. as
Sure.
well, so.
Go ahead.
Yeah, can I add just a few things? I wanted to talk just a little bit. You guys obviously recognize me as former UIL, and I'm very proud to say that our UIL staff now is working really hard to keep all of our schools together. But, you know, the historic decisions they've had to make in the last couple of weeks, you know, God bless their hearts that they're able to step out and help the schools. But just as another note, you know, there's the silver lining to all of this is that all of us on this call, and Bob, you know this, we can all help the schools in one way or another. To add to Brian and Chuck's presentation about, you know, schools being able to afford things, one of the things that we did with our broadcast platform was be able to show schools that they have broadcast rights and that you can actually own your front porch. And you know, Dave, how much you invested in all of those sports programs in Keller all of those years, in uniforms and stadiums and coaches' salaries. If you can come to our broadcast platform and use the mascot media piece, then that advertising is yours. And we can give that to 100% to Keller ISD and let you guys come back and make that money on that. So not only is Rank 1 Sport Health pushing all of that, we can expand it and we can give it to you and we can let those schools make money. So UIL releasing that Friday Night Lights has really made a huge impact on these schools coming on board with that. So I just wanted to throw that in at the end, that we even want to try to help you make money as a school district coming forward.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much for adding that.
Guys, this has been very beneficial to me personally, but I know it's been very comforting and reassuring to our 1,200 members to hear the things you're doing to keep the projects going, getting things done on time. The health message that you're all sharing about trying to be safe with your workers, with our members, and how this is I guess it's not really a silver lining, but something good will come of this. We're going to probably learn how to operate a little more efficiently in the future as things begin to open up. So hopefully that will occur soon. I'm going to share the your contact information with the group. So let me get that started. All right, so there's our 3 sponsors today, FieldTurf, Rank 1 Sports and Health, and PBK Sports. Thanks to all 3 of you for being here today. And here's our contact information with Chuck and Brian from FieldTurf, Tracy from Rank 1, and Trey and Juan from PBK Sports. Guys, this has been an incredible experience for me, and I hope to do it again with you in the coming months. So thank you again for being a THSADA state sponsor. We look forward to working with you in the future.